Of the Primakov Readings 2024. You've been here representing South Africa. Please walk us through about the significance of such gatherings.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome to your viewers and listeners. It's my pleasure to talk to Africa TV BRICS. Am I right?
TV BRICS Africa.
TV BRICS Africa. The very important outfit that you guys have set up, and a long-awaited one, I know, from the Russian side of your counterparts. They have been looking forward to partnership of that nature, and I think it's very relevant for us as South Africa. So welcome to Moscow. This is now my third participation in the Primakov Readings. A very useful platform that the Russians have set up through the Primakov Institute. As you would know, that Primakov is one of the foremost Russian diplomats, politician, academic, opinion maker, and who has spent over time and has been very influential in shaping what today is the building block of the Russian foreign policy and international relations. And you gather this through events such as this. That's why I'm saying the Primakov Readings, it's a very useful platform which any country should strive to have, which we in South Africa should strive to have more, especially in the field of international relations and diplomacy, because, as you know, that the position of South Africa, of the South African government, and the role of diplomacy in international relations is at a higher trajectory. And you would recall that the likes of former Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma during the time of President Mbeki, especially in the continent, South Africa was a formidable a champion in the whole of the African continent. And as the diplomats now all over the world, South African diplomats, we are quite happy with the developments. Again, thanks to former Minister, Naledi Pandor, who has really taken the trajectory of South Africa's diplomatic role in the global sphere to heights higher than they were before. And of course, the support that she has been getting from President Ramaphosa. You have seen and you are seeing the involvement of South Africa's diplomacy and the diplomatic thrust in the conflict in the Middle East between Israel and the Palestinians. The efforts that the 7 African leaders have done to intervene and get into grips with the war between Russia and Ukraine, trying to encourage the two countries to negotiate. So therefore the Primakov Readings itself give us that platform and that capacity to understand the initiative of Russia, the Russian Federation, through the use of figures like Primakov. So in short, I can say that I find the platform very useful, and that's why I am here today. Since it opened, I'll be here tomorrow up until the end, because it's for my own sanity also, and as a diplomat, for me to understand, because we can only learn from other people of how we're doing things. So in short, that is how I can respond to your question.
Thank you, Ambassador. The insights of Primakov, they took a deep road into various sections. Some will talk about conflict resolution, as you are mentioning, the special operation that Russia is going through. How do you see the Primakov's ideals or ideas emerge in Russia chairing BRICS this year?
Well, again, I think it's an extension. That's why I was saying that the foundations of the present Russian foreign policy drew its aspiration from the experiences and the influence of Primakov, you see. So when you listen to the participants, when you listen to the speakers during plenary, everything is anchored around Primakov. And so, in a sense, yes, even the present situation definitely show Primakov would have dealt with similar situations before, and I also strongly believe and sense that the Russian Federation are using that experience of the teachings of Primakov. You have to read his biography, The Unknown Primakov, which I haven't had time to read it, to be honest, but I've scanned through it and looking at the various topics and the various world leaders that he has met during his time. It's quite inspirational. I am sure even today's conflicts and today's changing global geopolitics, definitely sure you would find some resonance with what he had put in place during his time.
Would you find significance or similarities into what former President Mbeki, actually, I believe he was also here attending the Primakov last year, with his writings, his weekly writings, more understanding of the continent as a whole, be it conflict resolution in Sudan and other missions is taken in Africa? Would you find some similarities there?
Absolutely. You know, when President Mbeki was here during the last 2023 Primakov readings in October, same venue, he was in the plenary, and very inspirational, and his interventions. But of course, also remember, TM is a product of O.R. Tambo. He is a product of Alfred Nzo. And those are the people who really, again, when you look at the South African, the present South African foreign policy and its positions, its history, it draws back from that period during liberation. If you remember, OR articulated the 4 pillars of our struggle. One of them, the 4th pillar, was international relations, right? And Primakov was about international relations, diplomacy, and what have you. And definitely sure, Thabo is one of our premier diplomats. You saw what he did during his period. The African Renaissance, the New Africa Partnership for Development, NEPAD, and how he mobilized the African continent together with the former President Obasanjo, President Wade from Senegal, later to be joined by Prime Minister Wallace from Ethiopia. So that was Thabo Mbeki, prime diplomat who understood international relations. There is no doubt about it. But again, when you look at TM, you've got to look back at Thabo, because he is a product of OR. He was groomed by OR, basically. And he understood international relations. He took Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, who became one of our top ministers of foreign affairs.
And if you zoom into now, would you say, do we have deeper roots that can really guide the new government of national unity?
There is no doubt that the 30-year experience of the African National Congress definitely show it would give those roots. Otherwise, the African National Congress will be faltering if it does not use that experience of then to resolve the problems of today. The other day, I was listening to the interview, I think it was in Metro, of the new chief whip of the ANC in Parliament. And he was talking about the negotiations that are going on now in the formation of the government of national unity. And of course, also, I've also listened to the interview of the Secretary General of the African National Congress on certain positions that are red line for the ANC. And you saw the position when there were funny, unsavory remarks, conditions that were put by certain parties that they can only join the coalition or the GNU with the ANC, provided that President Ramaphosa is not the president. And of course, there was a red line that is not negotiated. We in the diplomatic space, we believe that, to answer your question, there would be certain red lines that we would wish to see the ANC take in relation to certain foreign policy and foreign practices that have been established. For example, our position on the decolonization and the struggle of the Sahrawi people in Western Sahara should be a red line as far as I'm concerned. To the question of the position of South Africa on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it should be a red line that should not be negotiated. But of course, having said that, and as a diplomat, we based our positions, we are led by policy, because some of the issues that I'm raising would be policy decisions. That's why I say that we as the diplomats, there would be certain fundamentals that should not be negotiable. But at the end of the day, as I say, these would be policy and political decisions at the point of the formation of the government of national unity.
Well, you do say that our relations with the world are quite matured now. And I suppose the 30 years is the latter experience, as you would know that the greatest diplomat of all, Oliver Tambo, started the work far earlier. And what would be the reaction? What are the Russians saying, and how are they reacting in, well, there hasn't been any policy change, and there's clarity of there's not going to be policy change, and also the ANC still enjoys leading the government of national unity. What are they saying on the streets of Moscow nowadays?
Well, look, let me say first and foremost that the except for President Putin having congratulated President Ramaphosa, except for the outcome of the elections, in as far as what is happening presently, there's been no official position or official statement from the Russians. And I think it is a correct measure, and I'm sure they are waiting for the outcome. And all of us, of course, we are all waiting for the outcome. We don't know what the outcome of the GNU is going to be. We are aware, of course, reading from the press that there are 17 political parties that have decided to join the government of national unity, which is a very encouraging thing, where the political parties, and the significant thing to me about the developments since the outcome of the elections has been right across the political spectrum. For the first time in our 30-year history, political parties talk of the interest of South Africa first. I was listening to the leader of the FF Plus, who was saying that they will bring into the party an experience in the interest of the people of South Africa, which is an interesting thing. And I haven't heard from any other political party that says, no, we are here for the interest of our party. They are all talking about the interest of the country. Because at the end of the day, whatever our differences are, the biggest national interest for us is the interest of our people.
And those interests, I'm sure they'll be carried out as you're preparing for BRICS later this year?
Absolutely. No, they would be. They would be right from the beginning, as we have seen in the during our chairship of BRICS. Not only did we put South Africa into higher grounds, but we took Africa with us. If you remember, the theme of South Africa's chairship of BRICS was BRICS and Africa for a strong multilateral. So those three elements are quite important. And going to Kazan, I think the position of South Africa will be the same.
And do you think this year I heard more rumors of maybe Turkey will be joining BRICS, and also I think Thailand has put its hand up as well. Do you think we'll get more parties?
Well, there will be more parties joining BRICS. There is no doubt about it. And as you know, that during the chairship of South Africa, one of the areas of concentration was on what was called BRICS expansion, which of course we inherited it from China, who was the previous chair of BRICS in 2022. We carried on with that, hence the how many countries? The Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, they were accepted. It was based on the criteria that was set up at the August BRICS summit in South Africa.
And what do you think is going to be, just on the final thought of this year, what do you think the summit will declare? What are the real workings?
One of the key things, interesting things, I think, for the summit is going to be the issue of currency. Either local currency or different currencies.
BRICS Pay, digital currencies, and doing trade in.
I think, and if you remember that in Johannesburg, the ministers of finance and the governors of the reserve banks or national banks, as they are called in other BRICS countries, they will be presenting a report to summit on what is going to be the currency arrangement for BRICS countries. So I think that is going to be the key thing that I'm looking forward to in Kazan.
Ambassador Maqetuka, hope to see you in Kazan. Thank you for joining BRICS Africa Channel.
Thank you very much.